Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to get right into the DNA of the world's largest democracy, the Constitution of India. This isn't just a rule book. It's a document that was born from immense hope and, let's be honest, incredible challenges. It was a blueprint for a future that hadn't even been written yet. So let's get into it. Just think about that for a second. How do you even begin to create one single guiding document for a country with such unbelievable diversity? Different languages, religions, cultures, all of it. This was the massive question facing the framers of the Indian Constitution. And the answer they came up with, well, it's as complex and fascinating as India itself. So what's the very first thing that jumps out at you when you look at the Indian Constitution? Well, it's pretty hard to miss. We're talking about its sheer scale. It makes a truly unforgettable first impression, that's for sure. And here's the number that really tells the story. When it started out in 1949, it had 395 articles. Today, it's grown to around 470 articles. To put it simply, it is by far the longest written constitution anywhere in the world, no contest. And this slide really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? The U.S. Constitution, one of the oldest and most influential, has just 7 articles. India's has about 470. Now, this elephantine size, as some critics have called it, wasn't an accident. It was a deliberate choice to spell things out, to include detailed rules for both the central government and the states, all in one single document, to make sure every corner of this diverse country was covered. So, you might be wondering, where did all of this text, all of these ideas come from? Did they just invent it all from scratch? Not at all. The framers actually looked all around the world for inspiration, creating a constitution that has a truly global family tree. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar famously said they ransacked all the known constitutions of the world, and you can see it right here. The basic skeleton came from the old British law, the Government of India Act of 1935. The political engine, the parliamentary system, was inspired by Britain, but the soul of it, the guarantee of our fundamental rights, that drew from the U.S. Constitution. And the vision for a fair society? Well, those ideas came from Ireland. And this quote from Dr. Ambedkar, the chief architect, just nails the philosophy behind it. He argued that this wasn't some blind copy-paste job. No, it was about learning from what other democracies had already done, taking the best parts, and then skillfully adapting them to fit India's unique situation. So the key takeaway here is adaptation, not just imitation. Now, if you could say the Constitution has a personality, it would be one of balance. Its real genius is this incredible ability to take ideas that seem to be opposites and weave them together into a framework that's both strong and, at the same time, flexible. Let's see how it pulls this off. First up, look at how it can be changed. It's not totally rigid like the American Constitution, which is famously hard to amend, but it's also not completely flexible like the British one, where laws can be changed pretty easily. India does both. The really core parts of the Constitution need a special, difficult procedure to be changed, which gives it stability. But other parts can be updated more simply, which lets the whole document evolve with the times. It's the best of both worlds. Next, let's talk about the structure of power. On one hand, you've got a classic federal system. Power is divided between the central government and the state governments. But, and this is a big but, it has a very strong unitary bias. That means a powerful central government, one single citizenship for everyone, and one unified court system. This unique model, often called quasi-federal, was designed specifically to hold a very diverse nation together. And here's another masterful balancing act. The Constitution takes the British idea of parliamentary sovereignty, where Parliament is the top dog, and blends it with the American idea of judicial supremacy. So in India, the Parliament can make any law it wants, but the Supreme Court has the power of judicial review to check that law and strike it down if it violates the Constitution. It's a beautiful system of checks and balances. Okay, so beyond all the rules and structures, the Constitution has a soul. It really lays out a moral and philosophical vision for what the Indian state should be. This is the nation's moral compass. At the absolute heart of this vision are the fundamental rights. Now, these aren't just nice-sounding ideals. They are legally enforceable guarantees. This means if any of these rights are violated, you, as a citizen, can go directly to the courts and demand justice. They are the absolute bedrock of political democracy in India. And these are the 6 pillars of individual liberty in India. Everything from the right to be treated as an equal, to the freedom of speech, to the freedom to practice your own religion. And that last one, the right to constitutional remedies, that's the one that gives teeth to all the others. It's the mechanism that lets you enforce your rights. But individual rights are only half of the story. The Constitution also lays out these things called the directive principles of state policy. You can think of these as the nation's long-term to-do list. They are the big goals for creating a welfare state that delivers social and economic justice for everyone. Now, unlike fundamental rights, you can't take the government to court over them, but they are a constant moral reminder of the job they're supposed to be doing. And this is the crucial point, this perfect balance. The Supreme Court itself has said that the entire constitutional structure is built on this foundation. The fundamental rights protect the individual citizen, while the directive principles push the state to look after the well-being of the whole community. You really can't have one with the other. Finally, it's so important to remember that the Constitution isn't some dusty old book sitting on a shelf. It's a living document. It's constantly being interpreted, debated, and yes, even criticized. And you know what? That criticism is a vital part of its story. Right from the very beginning, the Constitution has had its critics. Some called it a bag of borrowings, saying it wasn't original enough. Others claimed it was just a carbon copy of the old colonial-era 1935 Act. And of course, its huge size and complex legal language have led people to joke that it's a paradise for lawyers. These are all important debates that are part of its ongoing life. So at the end of the day, what's the verdict? Is the Indian Constitution just a messy patchwork quilt of borrowed ideas? Or is it a fabric that's been masterfully woven to fit a nation of 1 billion people? That's a debate that still goes on. But what is absolutely undeniable is that it remains one of the boldest, most ambitious democratic experiments in all of human history. The only real question is, what will its next chapter hold?